Hey, what's up, Bears fans? The Chicago Bears have a rookie that just quietly dominated the competition. And the reason that it's quiet is that it's sneaky. The score, it does not show it. But fifth round rookie defensive end Austin Booker, he had a very strong showing in his preseason debut. This is really this is really exciting. And he had some flashes against the Texans just on Thursday, one pass rush that collapsed the pocket, and it led to a strip sack by teammate Byron Cowart that was recovered by the offense. That just doesn't show up in Booker's stat line, but the play was mostly him. He caused absolute chaos on that play. And it's one of the reasons that I was so encouraged by this game. He brought good pressure the whole game in the backfield, often in his first NFL action. And I think it's just a glimpse of what's to come in this young guy's career. Could certainly carve out a rotational role in his rookie year immediately, with possibly a bigger role to come. And while the offense grabs all the attention in the Chicago Bears offseason, the Hall of Fame game was also one of those things. I mean, we saw really good quarterback play. We saw Colin Johnson really ball out. But we got a glimpse of something in defensive end Austin Booker. He showed that he's going to make an impact. And polls, he has DeMarcus Walker. He has Dominique Robinson kind of coming around in practice lately. Jacob Martin, they pair up with Austin Booker in a rotation. He could feel that having a rotation of players could help and be all that's needed here in Chicago. And by the way, DeMarcus Walker, he's not just a journeyman here. He had a career high in quarterback pressures this last year. He didn't quite finish those off and make them sacks, but man, I think we're looking at a very promising year from DeMarcus Walker, and Austin Booker is going to slide in really nicely. I think even at the starting position by midseason. So additionally, we've got D tackle Gervon Dexter, absolute beast in practices so far. If that continues, if he has a breakout season that I think is coming, additional pressure on quarterbacks. Our pass rush is solved. And Gervon, he's looking like this much needed 3-tech, the engine of this defense. I'm just actually really excited about this defensive line. And Booker might have given Poles more reason to like what he has. Stay put on the edge rusher. I don't see a lot of chatter about adding a defensive end. We actually need help on our offensive line now. He could try to fortify the offensive line, but Booker quietly had this great debut, even if it was against reserves and throughout practices, all training camp, all OTAs. He's shown that he needs more reps against the starters. And at times, he looks nothing like a player who only had 580 total snaps in college. He looks different. And now he just got to show it in an actual game. And when you look at his stat sheet, you really only see one tackle, not much else. But I'm going to talk about this. Consistently in the Texans' backfield, consistently making havoc, forced a fumble. Pressure was responsible for the Chicago Bears' only sack of the game as well, but he doesn't get credit for it. And this is to hear it directly from PFF. They kind of have some standouts from this Hall of Fame game. And I think you guys can read it for yourself. But this breakdown on Austin Booker's game, it's really impressive. And if we look back, most people in the draft community, right, absolutely shocked when Kansas edge rusher Austin Booker, he was available for the Bears all the way in the 5th round. And at one point, he was considered a potential late first-round pick before draft season. But just during draft season, most sources had him as a third-round prospect. I think that you can substantiate that. He left Kansas as a redshirt sophomore, only 1 year of starting experience. He even missed some games during that time. This guy has the frame to develop here, a long, slender build. He tried to add some extra weight during the draft process. I think that affected his workouts a little bit. Athleticism suffered a little bit. I think that was part of his slide in the draft, plus the lack of tape on him. But Thursday night's performance suggested big time that the Bears, they might have a steal in their hands. And even as just a pass rusher, that's a huge thing. 6'4". I don't think it's just. 81-inch wingspan. That's like a basketball player. Uses those long arms so well when attacking offensive tackles. He has just a bevy of pass rushing moves. Earned a 73.6 pass rush grade in his first preseason contest. That's pretty nice. He beat his blocker 4 times and he registered 1 quarterback hurry. So, and there was a particular play in the second quarter. You guys have to look this up. He hit his offensive tackle with a long arm-to-arm over combo. Gives us a glimpse of what his NFL pass rush plan could be. Just a really nice, mature move as a player as far as a pass rush. And even though he didn't get to the quarterback, it was just really nice to see. It was an advanced move. And I think a lot of this, Poles was enamored with this play because even in college, he showed a variety of rush moves. Like an inexperienced pass rusher like him, a guy that's supposed to be a project, he shouldn't look so polished as a pass rusher. He shouldn't have so much in the toolbox. I'm not saying he's a finished product, but he doesn't have a lot of snaps under his belt, and he's vulnerable on run plays. He needs to develop a bull rush. I think he needs to put a little more weight on his bones. He can get pushed back a little bit when he's not moving around, when he's not doing swim moves. He's a little tough at the point of attack as far as a rush defender as well, but these things can be solved. Strength training can solve this, and we're looking at a guy that is 6'4.5" tall. Weight is currently at 240. Easily add 20 pounds to help him out. And I think Booker, he most likely made Poles and the Chicago Bears coaching staff very happy by being a stud on the defensive side in this game. It's kind of interesting how much more we're going to see of him, showing absolutely every day that he does super well against reserve players. But as this preseason continues, as he gets more matchups, getting closer to the regular season, I want to see him show his stuff against number ones. If he responds, we're looking at a jackpot hit by Ryan Poles. And I think also one of his most impressive plays as well, he put a Texans offensive lineman on the ground twice. He collapsed the pocket to help create a sack fumble once again. Slippery field, too. That might have contributed to the Texans' offensive lineman falling. I mean, that's fair. But he still had a nice power rush on both of those plays. And additionally, on a play where Booker helped collapse the pocket, he continued to show power as well with that nice inside move that I was talking about. And even on plays that he didn't directly impact the outcome, just great chase down ability, great disruption. And I think being able to chase down plays in the NFL, that's crucial. Every yard counts, right? And if he continues to deliver in this way in the preseason, I think there's going to be more eagerness to see how he fares against the starters. And I think also as we move forward, we're going to see more of that. So if we kind of look at the game a little more before I close, some surprises in the game, right? Brett Rippon, Colin Johnson, fantastic games. The offense in general moved the ball well. A little short start, but if the reserves played that well, imagine what the starters would do. They should be even better. And this offense, it's going to be showing some vanilla looks in the preseason. We're not going to see totally what it's going to look like. But at running back, we had Khalil Herbert, 35 yards on 4 carries. He showed that burst, that ability to make big runs that we've seen in the past. And Roshan, we think he's going to replace Herbert, but he had 24 yards on 6 carries. But this guy just made some really hard runs in traffic. He showed good power going through the line, and I'm really impressed with our running back room. And this is without Swift even seeing the team yet. I mean, the biggest news, though, the underrated news, is how Austin Booker came. I mean, very inexperienced, impressive in college, and we're looking at him being the rusher to complement Montez Sweat. I think really the need for Yannick Ngakoue to come onto the team, I don't think that's really there anymore. I think Poles is happy with what he has. He said it recently, and I'm going to give you that quote, but It's kind of a dangerous game. Some of the best available players could be gone very soon, but I think he's had fortune with him as he rebuilds this locker room, this roster on the defensive side. I think he's had luck on his side, and this is to hear directly from Ryan Poles. I don't really see it as a defensive end problem. Our mindset's always, how can we make a position group the best we can possibly make it and as deep as we can possibly make it? So it's like I said, really just leaning on Travis and Eric to continue to develop the players that we have and see how they do. We saw some really encouraging things during OTAs, but we all know this game is played in full pads, so we want to see that process through. That was during the offseason. But hey, I think we're in really good shape on the defensive line here. I'm really impressed with the performance of Booker, and it's sneaky and quiet because it doesn't show up on the stat sheet. I would rather see us put our resources into an offensive lineman, and most notably, you guys know the guy from Miami. I'm not going to say his name, but we got to move fast if we're going to get Connor Williams there. I just said it. Because it looks like he's close to a deal with a couple other teams, one of them possibly being Seattle. So we know from history when Ryan sees a player that he moves fastly and he pulls the trigger. So the fact that he hasn't done it yet on Connor Williams, it might indicate that he's not going to do it. We'll see, man. It's impossible to predict. I think that's where our resources should go. And especially with this development, seeing Austin Booker play in the Hall of Fame game, it gives me tons of confidence that the defensive line is going to be all set. You guys let me know, like and subscribe. I love growing this family with you guys. This is my home. And hey, you guys are awesome. I'll see you in the comments and we'll talk soon. See you in Bear Down.